What up guys, back at you with another AMA. We're gonna get into a lot of questions. Leave your comments below. Let me know any questions that you have and I'll get to them. As always, we are brought to you by my company, Santa Cruz Paleo. If you want to get the best protein ever, look up Santa Cruz Paleo on Amazon or go to our website, santacruzpaleo.com. The electrolytes are also back in stock. They're selling very fast. If you want electrolytes, go to santacruzpaleo.com. Any 2 items you get, use the code SantaCruz10. That's a promo we're doing right now. Any 2 items, you get electrolytes and creatine. You could get, food of the gods and creatine. You can get vitamin D and protein, whatever it is. Any 2 items, use the code SantaCruz10 at checkout and you will get that deal. Let's dive into this week's AMA. We got a lot of good questions coming in. We're gonna get into it. Let's rock. This question is, Brendan, does honey cause acne? The short answer is no. Now, excess, changes in blood sugar, like crazy spikes in blood sugar, have been shown in some PubMed studies to be linked with acne. So what I would suggest is if you're eating honey, do it towards the end of the day or do it in the context of a meal. So if you're having some like full fat yogurt, you can put some honey in there, or even sometimes I do steak and honey. I know that might seem weird, but it's actually delicious. Don't knock it till you try it. But if you're just like hammering honey on its own, you could have that blood sugar swing, which potentially could cause some issues. But overall, honey's a pretty healing food, so I wouldn't think that's causing any gut or skin issues. The next question is, Brendan, what is worse for you, drinking 1 beer a day or smoking a cigarette every day? I would go with smoking a cigarette. I think that is just not the move. We know firmly how well established the connection between smoking and lung cancer is. A lot of people nowadays would like to talk about tobacco and nicotine and the nootropic effects. That's not what's in a cigarette. That's not the only ingredients in a cigarette or chewing tobacco or a vape. So looking at an isolated study on nicotine and then smoking a cigarette thinking that you're getting, the benefits or something, it's so dumb. You're gonna give yourself lung cancer. Drinking a beer a day is not good either. We know that it can reduce your overall volume of your brain and lead to sleep issues. Even if you're not really feeling the effects of that alcohol, you're still negatively affecting your sleep, you're negatively affecting your brain health. So don't do either, but smoking a cigarette would probably be worse. The next question is, Brendan, what type of yogurt do you think is the best? So this varies. You can get Greek yogurt. I do definitely like Greek yogurt because of the higher protein content. I'm always trying to hit this protein goal, but you want to make sure to not get the low fat Greek yogurt or especially no fat Greek yogurt because a lot of the vital nutrients that are in dairy products come from the fat. So I'm a big fan of full fat Greek yogurt. You can also just get plain yogurt. There's sheep milk yogurt. The best type is probably going to be Greek yogurt from A2 grass-fed cows. And there's actually a few brands that sell that. I have one in my fridge right now. It's A2 cows, dairy cows. And A2 cows just basically means it's a species of cow that produces a certain type of casein protein that's been shown to be more favorable for gut health and more tolerable, basically. So it's not a make or break. If you can't find A2 yogurt, that's fine. You can just get normal yogurt, but I would definitely go with the whole fat ones and make sure it doesn't have any added sugar. The next question is, Brendan, how much time should we spend outdoors every day? Sort of as much as you can, in all honesty. A lot of research is coming out now about eye health, and Andrew Huberman just did a deep dive, a podcast with an eye specialist from Stanford, and what he's basically saying is when we're exposed to light outdoors, it's tremendously beneficial for our eye health, our brain health, our circadian rhythm. So he even has his kids, if they want to use their iPad or computer, he has them do it outside because you're still getting some of that natural light into your eyes. You should sort of spend a lot of time outdoors per day. How much exactly? I mean, definitely accrue, 2 hours if you can. That's pretty easy to do. If that sounds like a long time for you, just break it up. In the morning, spend 20 minutes outside before you have to go to school or work. At lunch, spend an hour outside. Have your lunch outside. When you get home, do your workout outside. You need to start spending more time outdoors. And if you're struggling with the heat that's going around this summer, just do it in the morning and in the evening. You can definitely accrue that amount of time easy. The next question is, Brendan, are your electrolytes gluten-free? The answer is yes, absolutely. There's no gluten in them whatsoever. I think some people might be listening to this like, that's a funny question, but there are electrolytes that have wheat gluten in them. There's a brand called None, these little tablet electrolytes that like dissolve in water, and some of them have wheat gluten as an ingredient. Now, why would somebody add this to their electrolyte? Well, it can maybe enhance the texture. That's probably why they add that. Or if they're doing it in those things where it's like a little tablet that you drop into water and it dissolves, it can help that thing stick together as a tablet. I think it's really dumb, and it's another clear example that these companies care more about what the product looks like than the actual effects on your health. Why would you put wheat gluten into an electrolyte? It's Crazy. The next question is, Brendan, I hear a lot about the Mediterranean diet. What do you think about the Mediterranean diet? So we see the Mediterranean diet being the diet that's recommended in Western health. They say this is the best diet, fruits, nuts, seed, vegetables, and just a small amount of lean meats. That's basically what they say, and they use olive oil. What's sort of contradictory with this is, first of all, in the actual Mediterranean diet, they don't use a lot of seed oils. I'm sure there's canola oil and soybean oil in Italy and stuff, but when you really look at traditional Mediterranean diets, they're using olive oil and they're using butter, okay? The other thing is, when you actually look at real Mediterranean diets from an anthropological point of view, they do eat a lot of fish, eggs, and meat. This just seems to get forgotten or, minimized in the Western health thing. They say, oh, they eat a small amount, tiny amount of fish, tiny amount of meat. That's not really true. Go to traditional parts of Italy. They are prioritizing seafood and meat. That is the prized thing of the dish. Obviously, they do eat some grain. They do eat fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, which, I think are totally fine in moderate amounts. And overall, I'm a fan of the diet, but what it's turned into, where they're like, oh, it's mostly plant-based. Not true. Go to Italy, go to Greece, go plant-based. Go ask people, go to a traditional town in Greece and ask them, if they're plant-based there. They're gonna laugh in your face. It's not true, but overall, an actual Mediterranean diet, I'm a fan of. The next question is, Brendan, your electrolytes taste salty. Why is that? Is that how it's supposed to be? Yes, this is a salt-based electrolyte. We have sodium, potassium, and magnesium in here. Listen, when you get a product that actually has electrolytes, electrolytes have a taste to them. Potassium has a certain taste, magnesium has a certain taste, and obviously salt has a certain taste. What a lot of people have gotten accustomed to is drinking these liquid IV packets, which is basically just sugar water, or they drink something like a Gatorade, which is, has artificial sweeteners often, or it's just, an immense amount of sugar. You have just warped your taste buds into thinking electrolytes taste like sugar. They don't. They taste salty. If you want these to taste, the best, we recommend mixing them with a liter of water. And the more water you add, the less salty it's going to be. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on seasonings for meat? Maybe you're trying to cook some chicken or some steak or some ground beef. What should I season up that stuff with? Now, you do need to be sort of careful with seasonings. So many of these brand seasonings, it's insane. Sunflower oil, sugar, literally just brown sugar is very, very common in meat seasonings. So you need to be careful about that. Now, what I like to do for seasonings is some salt, maybe some garlic, some black pepper, some rosemary. We are actually working on making a steak seasoning that's gonna have really high quality ingredients. Obviously no sugar, no weird fillers in there. So people put silicone dioxide and titanium dioxide into their seasonings. Be careful. If you want something simple, use garlic salt, black pepper, some smoked salt is pretty cool. Keep it simple, let the flavor of the meat shine. The next question is, Brendan, what do you think about kids doing SARMs? So SARMs, or selective androgen receptor modulators, have become very popular because people are taking them saying that, oh, I can take this and it's gonna raise my androgen levels, which leads to more muscle growth, stuff like that, and it's not going to affect my hormone system or cause suppression. So they've sort of been marketed as these things that are light steroids with no consequences. This is completely false. This is so wrong, it's insane. A lot of these SARMs, like MK677, are not good for you in any way, shape, or form. Now, if you're some athlete trying to do a bunch of gear, then sure, I guess go down that road. But if you are 14, 15, 16, 18 years old, 20 years old, and you think that you're gonna do SARMs with no, biological downsides, you're wrong. You're completely wrong. These are commonly abused. I think it's actually a big problem in sort of the fitness community. You see a lot of these people promoting these companies because they tell you you can just do this with no downsides. It's not true at all. These things have profound effects on your whole endocrine system. They have profound effects on things like insulin. It's not good. Be very careful with that stuff, or just don't do it at all. Just train hard, eat right. If you're young, you don't need this. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on climate change? This is sort of a broad question, but I think I can answer it. Look, what we have going on lately is they're sort of trying to blame people and certain industries for climate change when there's two things going on. One, our climate just changes, naturally. We have the ice age, we have, our climate goes through massive cycles, okay? So there's that. Now, pollution is a huge issue. Pollution is real, and I do think we are negatively affecting our Earth through all the pollution that we do. And, this is often done by these giant corporations. Let's look at Coca-Cola, for example. I did a deep dive into Big Soda and how many single-use plastic bottles that they produce. It's over 1 billion per year. Okay, so we have 1 billion single-use plastic bottles per year being produced, probably more, the number's probably much more, but that's confirmed. And those end up in our oceans and they end up polluting. I think that's really, really horrible. I think that's what we should focus on in terms of this climate change thing. When you look at these really dumb headlines that cows are ruining the environment, when you look deeper into that, it's not true at all, okay? I think a lot of what's happening is they're gonna try to place this blame on you, and they're gonna be telling you, hey, you need to take shorter showers. You need to not flush your toilet. That's literally a thing in California, people have said. Meanwhile, there's a golf course right near us that uses more water than we will use in 5 or 6 lifetimes, okay? So think about what's happening with these green taxes. Climate change is real, pollution is real, but how we're gonna handle it as human beings, I think a lot of that responsibility should be placed on the people doing the most polluting. All right, the next question is, Brendan, what are your tips on getting good food on vacation? So I have a lot of familiarity with this because I travel a lot. Now it's really gonna depend on where you travel, but here's what I like to do. So starting out with the plane ride, I'm gonna pack some Epic bars or carnivore snacks and electrolytes, and that's pretty much what I'm consuming on that plane ride. I might, pack a banana or some apple or, just a little bit of meat and fruit for the plane ride. I don't feel the need to like get a massive meal in while I'm traveling. I just need a little something to snack on to keep my protein up, get some good minerals, get some good sugars from the fruit, and have my electrolytes for hydration. Then when I land, I'm definitely bringing my protein and creatine almost wherever I travel because it's very easy to make a protein shake. If your place doesn't have a blender or whatever, you can literally just shake it up. Have protein powder so you can get your protein in. Now, what should you eat when you're on vacation? Eggs are a really good thing. So when you start the day, almost every single breakfast place in the world is going to have eggs. I order a scramble or sunny side up eggs, and I say, please cook them in butter. So that's how I'm going to start my day. And then as you move on into the evening, you can usually find, protein and greens somewhere. So you can maybe order a salad and just say, hey, add a bunch extra steak or chicken to it and do something like that. You can often order, just the protein. So you're really going to want to make sure to get enough of that protein in. You really want to dial in your nutrition in terms of the beginning of the day. If you start out your day with a good amount of protein, you're probably not gonna, go crazy in the evening. You're not gonna be as hungry. So that's what I'd recommend. Get your protein in if you want it to simplify. The next question is, Brendan, what do you think of daily THC consumption? So this is something that's very common now that we have, legalization of this product. A lot of people are consuming this daily. Now, what do I think of this? What does the science show? If we listen to Huberman dive deep into this topic and we look at some of the studies on daily THC consumption, here's basically the deal. For some people, there is a benefit, but these are people with pretty critical conditions, okay? We're talking people that experience really bad nausea, extreme pain. There might be some benefit for those people. I think you watching this right now should really start to think, are you that type of person? Do you have some critical condition that you need to deal with, or are you just trying to get high every single day? We know that it does have some negative effects. We're talking the dopamine system, your serotonergic system in your brain, and how it affects sleep. It appears that THC actually harms deep sleep, whereas CBD can enhance deep sleep. So you really need to be careful, because if you're using the ZA, you're not using CBD. That's not what's happening, because there are no strains that are purely CBD. I mean, there are, but you're probably not consuming that. So I'm not a fan of it for daily use. I would use it as a reward if you do like to use it, but you should put it in the same camp as other stuff like alcohol. Obviously, it's not as bad for you as alcohol, but this daily use of it and people using it multiple times a day does not appear to be good for brain health, does not appear to be good for your dopamine system, and does not appear to be good for your sleep patterns. So yeah, consider that info. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on Nofap? What do you think about this? It's a very popular thing. People say it, raises testosterone. So there is a study on this, and here's what they found. After between 5 and 7 days, there did appear to be a rise in testosterone, but after that, it went down to baseline. So I do not think, okay, if you're about to go to the gym, should you be, loading up your computer and doing that? No, absolutely not. I think everybody listening to this knows that after I'm trying to be nice with the YouTube algorithm, but after you do that, you're not gonna have tons of energy and vitality. There's obviously some energy there, okay? Now, what does the actual science show? You're not going to cause a massive rise in testosterone by completely abstaining. And there might be some damaging effects for your prostate health, okay? So I would not just be some person that's just never, doing that. Now, a lot of people have problems with this because in the internet age, people load up their phones and they look at certain stuff, which really mess with your dopamine and serotonin. So I do not think you should be doing this often, but completely abstaining from it is not going to have significant performance benefits. Right before a physical activity, obviously you probably should refrain from that. and even maybe a day or two before, you know. I remember I did a jiu-jitsu competition, and like 2 days before I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. You know, I need to have like all my energy, all my vitality. But thinking that you're gonna abstain for 30 days, 40 days and cause some rise in testosterone, not true, and you might actually damage your prostate health. The next question is, Brendan, what food should I eat to get higher testosterone levels? So, first of all, just to be honest, the best thing you can do to dial in your testosterone levels is get good sleep. That is the biggest driver of testosterone, okay? Now we're talking about foods. What you want for good testosterone is you do want some healthy fats, and in my opinion, you want some cholesterol. I know cholesterol has been demonized, but it is actually how your hormones get produced, okay? It is the substrate for your hormones. So I think foods like eggs, red meat are really good drivers of testosterone. Now, there aren't really any solid studies on this, but we do know that nutritional aspects do affect your hormone levels to a certain extent. What I would say is focus on those good fats and foods like red meat. They just appear to really help you with vitality and testosterone. Focus on that. The next question is, Brendan, what are your thoughts on polyester clothing? They've probably seen some of these studies where polyester clothing negatively affects your hormones and sperm count and stuff like that. So here's what I think about polyester clothing overall. Personally, if I'm gonna go surf or I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm not gonna worry about wearing polyester clothing. I like to wear board shorts a lot, you know, like traditional like jiu-jitsu shorts, stuff like that. Yeah, they're made out of polyester. I'm not gonna go surf in organic cotton shorts. Now, because of those studies, although they're pretty speculative, let's be real. There's no like confirmed evidence that wearing polyester is going to ruin your hormone health or like cause some massive change with your testosterone levels or anything like that. So what I like to do is when I'm at home, I do wear organic cotton. I have organic cotton boxers, I have organic cotton shorts, or I just wear some sweatpants that are cotton. I do that when I'm at home, and I definitely sleep with that because it's going to be beneficial for your hormone health probably. I mean, look, any edge we can get, I'm gonna try to get, especially when it's something as easy as that. Get home, change in the organic cotton shorts, easy. I'm not gonna sleep in polyester clothing. So I am interested in the research on that, but I don't take it to the extreme and go surf in like organic cotton shorts. I think that's ridiculous. Like, take advantage of, you know, technology when needed. But yeah, don't chill all day in polyester clothing. The next question is, Brendan, I struggle with bloating after meals. Do you have any suggestions? So the first thing would be get a good digestive enzyme, especially if you're trying to transition over into maybe eating some type of new diet that you're working on. Try a digestive enzyme. As far as brands and stuff, people always ask me, I'm not affiliated with any digestive enzyme brands. I oftentimes just take the one that Whole Foods sells. It's a pretty good digestive enzyme. There's another brand, Digest Gold. They're a little bit pricier, but they're pretty good. So look into a digestive enzyme first of all. Now, what you're eating is very important as well. If you are eating a lot of grain at your meals or bread, obviously you need to cut that out. The other thing that I would recommend, there's not really any studies on this, but I wouldn't drink a lot of water like while you eat. Before, after, fine, but I wouldn't drink a lot of water while you eat. In my opinion, this would dilute digestive enzymes and it really wouldn't be optimal for digestion. I know the studies don't support that. I've actually looked at some of those studies. They weren't the best, you know, conducted studies, and there's not a lot of research on it, but I would not be chugging water while you eat personally. That might help. The next question is one I get a lot. It's about Fairlife. It's this, you know, dairy drink that packs a lot of protein in there. So I think people like them because they go, wow, I can just get like 30 grams of protein just like that. Now, I'm not really a fan of Fairlife. Why? First of all, they have artificial sweeteners in there. They have sucralose in there. And they also put it like filler ingredients like oat fiber in there. Not a big fan of that. And it's usually low fat dairy, which a lot of the nutrients in dairy are from the fat. Now, if you need some quick protein and you're not too concerned about artificial sweeteners, go for it. In my opinion, it's very, very low quality dairy. I'd rather not consume that. So not really a big fan of it, but if it's something you really enjoy and you feel great drinking it, go for it. All right, guys, that's it for this week's AMA. As always, leave your comments below and I will get to your questions. And like and subscribe on YouTube, all that. If you want to try any of our products, go to santacruzpaleo.com. Use the code SantaCruz10. Any 2 products you buy will be 10% off. That goes for any 2 products, 2 electrolytes, 2 proteins, a protein and a vitamin D. You know, magnesium cap should be back in stock by the time you're watching this. So go check it out, santacruzpaleo.com. Take care of your health, get after it, train hard, stay consistent. Peace.